let me ask you something a little personal. Have you ever felt that deep, almost aching desire to make a man feel so emotionally connected, so completely seen, that you become impossible to forget? That he wakes up thinking about you, smiles during the day remembering something you said, and falls asleep with your voice echoing in his heart? If you've ever wished to have that kind of power, not in a controlling way, but in a deeply loving, soul-binding way, then you're about to hear something most women never get told. The truth is, it's not about giving extravagant gifts, cooking him 5-course meals, or trying to be perfect all the time. That's not what stays in his mind. It's not the expensive perfume or dressing up every time you see him. It's something much simpler. Something surprisingly gentle, yet profoundly effective. It's the words you choose. Specifically, it's the way you name him in love. Yes, I'm talking about nicknames, but not just silly or random ones like babe or boo. I mean emotionally charged names, words that reach directly into his heart, the kind of names that don't just make him smile. They make him feel like your world, your warrior, your one and only. These nicknames aren't just terms of endearment, they are emotional messages disguised as sweet nothings. And when used the right way, they become powerful little keys that unlock parts of his heart he didn't even know were closed. You see, when a man hears a name that touches his soul, something shifts inside him. He doesn't just feel loved, he feels chosen, valued, admired in a way that speaks directly to his masculinity and emotions all at once. Today I want to share with you 10 of the most emotionally magnetic nicknames men secretly love to hear. These aren't names you'll find on a random internet list. These are names that create an emotional imprint, and I'll also tell you how to make them personal, so they don't just sound cute, but feel like a secret bond only the two of you understand. Now, let's talk about why nicknames even matter in the first place, why something so small can have such a deep emotional effect in love. At first glance, nicknames seem like something playful, a little joke between lovers, maybe even something silly. But in reality, they carry emotional weight. They're like soft little reminders that say, "You're mine," without ever needing to say it out loud. They communicate closeness, affection, and ownership, not in a possessive way, but in a way that makes both of you feel safe and treasured. Nicknames build intimacy in ways most people overlook. When you give someone a name that no one else uses, it becomes like a little secret. It belongs only to you and him. It creates a bubble, your own little world, and every time you say it, you reinforce that special bond. It's emotional safety wrapped in a single word. A good nickname doesn't just make him feel liked, it makes him feel known, loved in a way that goes beyond logic. And here's something powerful: the right nickname can boost his confidence more than compliments or flattery. When you give a man a name that reflects his strength, his passion, his soul, it lights him up. It reminds him of who he is to you, and sometimes who he wants to be. It makes him want to rise to that role, to step into that version of himself that he sees reflected through your eyes. These names add magic to everyday life. You could be doing something completely ordinary, folding laundry, cooking dinner, watching a movie, and then you softly call him by that name, and suddenly the moment becomes intimate. It becomes a memory, a heartbeat between you, something sacred in the middle of the everyday. That's the quiet power of words. But not all nicknames will have that effect. That's the part most people miss. The most powerful names are the ones that are thoughtful, personal, and emotionally connected to your relationship. They're not one size fits all. They reflect who he is to you and what your connection means. So let's explore some of those deeply romantic, emotionally charged nicknames that can melt a man's heart and bond him to you on a soul level. One that's incredibly grounding is my anchor. Use this one for the man who calms your storms, the one who brings peace to your chaos and stays steady when life feels like too much. When you call him your anchor, you're not just admiring his strength, you're telling him that he is your safe place. That when the world feels like it's spinning too fast, he's the one that makes it all slow down. That's powerful. That's not just love, it's trust. Another one is heartthrob. It sounds playful, yes, but it's full of fire. It's not just about the way he looks, it's about the way he makes your heart beat faster. It's a way of saying, you still have that effect on me. Whisper it in his ear when he least expects it. Say it when he walks into a room and you want him to know you noticed. Use it when you're cuddled up next to him and want to remind him that he's not just your love, he's your desire. Now let's talk about captain. This one is for the man who wants to feel like he's guiding the ship of your love story. It's for the man who takes the lead with strength and pride. When you call him captain, you're telling him that you trust his direction, that you feel safe following where he leads. It also gives him a little playful authority, something many men secretly crave. It makes him feel admired, not just loved. Then there's soulfire. This one is for the deep emotional connection, the kind that's not just romantic but spiritual. Soulfire is the name you give the man who lights something powerful inside you. A fire that's not just about attraction, but something you feel deep in your bones. It says, you touch my soul. That's not something he'll hear from anyone else. And that's exactly why it stays with him. And this is just the beginning. These names are emotional bridges, ways of expressing affection, passion, safety, and admiration in a way that touches the heart without needing grand declarations. They're tools of emotional intimacy, and once you understand how to use them, they can completely transform the way a man feels about you. You're not just another woman. You become unforgettable. Because in the end, love isn't always about the big things. Often, it's in the tiny details. The softness in your voice when you call his name. The way your eyes light up when you see him. The emotional meaning behind the nickname you whisper in the dark. These are the things that make him feel like he matters. Like he's not just loved, but cherished. So don't underestimate the power of calling him something special. And don't be afraid to make it your own. Add a little inside joke to it, a memory, a piece of your shared history. That's what makes it unforgettable. You now have the emotional tools. What matters is how you use them, because when you say the right words in the right moment with the right heart, it doesn't just make him feel good, it makes him yours. Next one is for the man who doesn't just stir your feelings. He awakens something ancient and powerful in your soul. He's the man who touches parts of you that you didn't even know needed to be seen. This is the man who lights your fire emotionally, spiritually, romantically. When you call him this name, you're not just giving him a label. You're giving him a truth he may not have ever heard before. When you look into his eyes and say, you don't just touch my heart, you set it on fire. You're calling him your soul fire. And trust me, he's probably never been called that in his entire life. That's why it hits differently. That's why it lingers. Then there's champ, short for champion. It might seem simple, but the feeling behind it runs deep. This nickname isn't just about achievements or titles. It's about the way he shows up for life, and especially for you. When he handles your heart with care, when he overcomes challenges with quiet strength, when he makes you feel protected, even when things get hard, that's when he becomes your champ. This name reminds him that you see him as a winner in the ways that truly matter, that in your eyes he already has the victory. You're saying, you've already won me, and not because you're perfect, but because you're real, strong, and mine. Now let's talk about something more poetic, soft and emotionally rich. Moonlight. This one is delicate and beautiful. It's for the man who calms your storms, not with noise, but with stillness. He might not be loud, but his presence speaks volumes. When the world feels heavy, he brings peace. When your mind is loud, his voice soothes. When you call him moonlight, you're saying, "You're the soft glow in my darkness, the peace I crave when everything else feels too much." It's an incredibly romantic way to tell him he's your quiet strength, your gentle place to land, your moment of beauty in the middle of chaos. If you're looking for something bold, playful, and full of flirtatious energy, then Rockstar is your go-to nickname. This one is electric. It's fun, it's spicy, and it's perfect for the man who makes ordinary moments feel like they're straight out of a music video. This name isn't just about the way he carries himself, it's about the vibe he brings. He walks in and suddenly the room feels more alive. He talks and people listen. He smiles and something in you lights up. When you call him Rockstar, you're saying, "You're exciting, you're unforgettable, you bring the beat to my life." And whether you're texting him, "Good morning, Rockstar," it's powerful. It's personal, and it's unforgettable. That's what makes this nickname so special. My muse isn't something you throw around casually. It's sacred. It holds weight. It carries a feeling of being chosen, not just loved. This name works beautifully in the most tender, emotionally open moments. When the room is quiet, the world fades, and it's just the two of you breathing in sync. Maybe you're curled up beside him, your head resting on his chest, lost in your thoughts while your fingers trace little circles on his skin. Maybe you're both daydreaming out loud about